Who seconded that? Councillor Morrissey? Humphries, okay. Councillor Simpson?
Yeah, just a question on this one. I seem to recall us discussing this particular item once before.
Yes.
And I'm going from memory here, but I believe that we were talking, at the time they were talking about the 60 metres up to the line that's marked there, and now there's the 100 metres in there. I'm just a little confused as to what they're looking to take on. Is it 60 or the full 100?
It's really, at the moment, they're utilising the 60. When this was discussed at a workshop, the view was from a sort of a planning perspective that aligning that boundary with the other lot boundary would make more sense, which is the 100 metres. However, at the 100 metre point, it does get a bit tight there as far as that drainage reserve. So the road reserve would still be at 12 metres wide at that point where it's got 100 metres on this aerial photo. So the question really is, do we do it in line with the planning, or but it does create a potential for a slight squeeze point if they, in the future, the owner of lot 1A DP 7104 wanted to develop that block of land. 1 and 2 are currently in the same ownership. So it's sort of either way.
Just for clarity, this recommendation is for the 60 metres, is it?
Well, there's really nothing in the recommendation that states either.
It's basically giving me the authority to negotiate, because because we'd need to negotiate. They may not want the full length, so it's giving me the authority to negotiate that, and then also obviously to negotiate a price, because yeah, this one, given where it is, may be more expensive than the other ones that we've talked about tonight.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Simpson? I'll put that motion then. All those in favour? Carried. (17.6) on page 57. Councillor Simpson.
Start by moving the recommendation.
Second.
Councillor Hayes, second. Councillor Simpson.
Sorry, bear with me, Mr. Mayor, I'm just getting to the right page. We received some feedback from one community member in regards to this particular item and the, I guess, the requirement around advertising in local newspapers. Just a question on that. My understanding was when we decided not to advertise in local newspapers that all of the development applications and whatnot would be published in our community newsletter. Is that what is currently happening?
No, we're not advertising in the community newsletter when a DA is lodged. The community newsletter includes the development consents, which are a requirement to notify those. So the answer is no, we're not putting every DA in that community newsletter. We make an assessment around the type of DAs, and there are different trigger points under the community participation plan. We are still notifying some developments, certainly those that we know are potentially more complex or contentious. So that's how we're dealing with it. We're dealing with it in line with the amendments that were made to the regulation by the state government when newspapers were at one point in time disappearing. We also had the COVID impacts. So in some respects, we're modernising the way that we notify. We are continuing to advertise in newspapers. We're advertising in newspapers probably as much as we ever have done. So that certainly hasn't wound back. We're not always advertising DAs, so that's sort of how we're dealing with it at the moment.
I guess at the core of the issue is how you engage with the community about issues that could be contentious, really. And whilst I do agree with the notion of not necessarily having it in a community newspaper, I do have some concern if the only mandated way that we have to engage is by putting it on council's website, that is not really engaging with the community. I mean, most community members would not actually visit council's website and see what's on exhibition. So I guess, look, I don't have an answer to this, and I realise I'm not even arguing a point really, but I'm just making the broad point is putting these things on council's website really engaging with the community, and I think not. But then the question is, how do you do that effectively?
I'll just make a statement on it. I was a bit concerned when I seen it's removing the, and the letter came in that we're removing having to do it, or we're not doing it.